So what's up? So right now I want to put some respect and name some songs by the late great poet Gil Scott that I just enjoy his music. One of the greatest musical talents ever, one of the most rawest talents ever, and I really enjoyed his music and what he did. And I love like hearing songs like "The Hatred in America," "The Hatred That Is America." That's a very powerful song. uh, Talks about drug addiction and what's going on. And even though he had his addiction and his demons, he represented a voice of trying to better himself. Obviously as an artist, and he spoke on so many truths as an artist. He was really quite profound with what he said. He had a way of conveying his messages. He was very deep, very integral, very uh, into the aesthetics of bettering himself not only as a man but as an artist, as a creative being. So I really enjoyed what he was doing with his work. That's one of them songs, "How the Hatred in America Makes You Feel." Another song that comes to mind is "Angel Dust." That's a very powerful, moving cut. Spoke on, it was before crack took off. It was the late 70s. Angel Dust was a big song. It was one of them songs that had a strong social meaning. I remember watching him perform that as a little kid on Soul Train, and that was a very moving song. Like the way the element of that song was, with the feeling of that song. It was a very cool, relaxing song, very rhythmic. I love the stuff he did with Brian Jackson and his band, and it still sounds compelling, still sounds so good, and it had a strong message. Another song by Gil Scott that I love is "The Bottle." That one is funky, but it also talks about addiction and how you just give up everything and you get addicted to something and you can't get your will back and your way again. And he tapped into that. That's a very powerful thing that he was able to do. That brother was very profound, very deep, but how he would use metaphors. A bottle was his real life, but you get sucked into that bottle. You can't leave it alone. So that's a very powerful song. Other song I just got here that I loved a lot is "Whitey on the Moon," about white dudes. And white folks always want to go to the moon, but they don't want to solve what's happening here at home. Don't want to touch what's happening on the ground. And even though it came out in the late '60s, it still reflects to this day because of the racism and the other isms that go on. And it's like we rather invest in this, invest in that, but not take care of people as human beings. And so it's a distrust and a loss and everything that goes on. And Gil Scott Heron was very strong with pointing that out and having a say with that. He had a way of making those words. Other song I love about him a lot is "We Lost Detroit," when we nearly lost Detroit. So much was happening after the '68 riots. Dr. King was killed and everything that happened. And he had a way of just potently using his poeticness to just display it. And for my money, Gil Scott Heron is as great as any poet that's ever put a pen to paper, period. I mean, he could be this country's greatest poet ever. He's considered the godfather of rap music. But why not just say he's the got the poet of music, period? Because this guy had a very profound, deep, soulful, cleansing way of expressing himself and leaving you feeling and wanting more. And he just employed so many different styles and symbols. He was just a very strong figure with his words. Another song that I love by Gil Scott Heron, of course, is the obvious "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." That's one of the most powerful, potent, message-based songs. You got to wake up. People talk about being woke now. This man was woke 50 years ago. He was aware of what was going on socially, economically, spiritually, racially, all of it. He's that deep. He was ahead of his time with his writing, and I always love that song. And then one of the other songs that I love by him is "Lady Day" and John Coltrane. Tribute to Lady Day, Billie Holiday, and also to John Coltrane. He had a jazz background with a street vibe, but he had a way of putting it there. And he really was truly a way of putting and connecting those dots. So, I mean, there's just so much to enjoy and respect by the greatness that Gil Scott Heron and what his music meant then and what it still means today and how it's still important to what's happening, what's going on now. So, I want to show some respect. Those are the songs I like by Gil Scott Heron. Feel free to leave some comments. Feel free to subscribe. Give Gil Scott Heron a listen. Hook it up because there's some deep, cleansing music that needs to be heard. Peace.